Hey everyone, welcome to another Stamp Chatter video. My name is Leanne and today I'm going to show you an old technique that I was reintroduced to a few days ago on paper braiding. Paper braiding is kind of a kid's craft, been around for a long time, and it's kind of exactly that. It's just where you take some strips of paper and you just sort of fold it over each other and you come up with some really neat designs. So I'm going to use some designer paper, some two-sided designer paper, and we're going to make some patterns. I'm not going to do a whole card for you. I'm just going to show you the technique, and then I'm going to show you different variations of that technique. So this was one card I did, and I will show you exactly how that was done. Okay, so I've taken some designer paper and I'm using Hydrangea Hill. This is new. This is the Hydrangea Hill Sweet, I believe it's called, or Hydrangea Haven. I can't remember. But anyway, you want to choose some designer paper that's really got a tight pattern to it because you're only going to be cutting 1/2-inch strips here. So you kind of want the design to really come through, right? So I have cut 4 strips on the 12-inch side at 1/2-inch strips each. Okay, I'm going to simply glue these down opposite. Make sure you've got the opposite sides going here. So I'm gonna glue. You'll need some glue. You'll need a bone folder or good sharp nails or something. Okay, so now I'm gonna lay the second strip beside the top strip. Make sure that you've got opposite sides showing, and do that. And then I'm going to show you, I'm going to glue down the last strip here, and I want it to be the opposite of this. Okay, so now I have the flowers, the purple, the flowers, and the purple. Okay, so make sure these 2 strips aren't the same, or you're just gonna get too much of that repeating pattern, okay? So just start out this way first, and then as you do more, you'll kind of understand what I'm talking about. All right, so now we have the simple strips, just like that. Now, I'm gonna suggest if you want to glue this down onto a card, you're going to have to glue every strip as you go down. I'm not going to do that today, A, because it's time consuming, and B, I want to be able to show you different ways, different patterns of this, and then open it up and show you the different patterns, okay? So, but if you would like to glue it to your card, I highly recommend that you would glue it down. So you would put a little bit of glue here, let's pretend, a little dot of glue, and take your first strip that's on the outside. And I like to put my finger here right on the corner so that it can't fold any further than where my nail is. And I'm just going to pull that down until it is parallel with the strip on the bottom here. And push that down. You see that? So I'll do that again. So maybe you can see the crease now. So I put my fingernail here because I don't want the crease to go beyond this section here. And then I just pull this down so it's parallel with the strips below, and then fold it. Oh, take your bone folder and make that nice and flat. Then I'm going to go to the right side. Now I am left-handed, so I've started on the left, but it doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter if you start on the right or you've got this twisted this way. It doesn't really matter. It's all going to end up the same. So now we're going to take the opposite side and do the same thing, and always make sure that you're parallel with the strip here. And now see, if I were going to put this on a card front, I get to put a bit of glue here and glue it down, because when you go to cut this to size like I did here, you're still going to have little sections you may have to glue down, but you certainly don't want this to unravel on you. So I suggest that you glue down every piece. Okay, so here again, I'm just going to put my finger here so that I don't over crease it. And I'm just going to keep going until I am towards the bottom. So I am using a 12-inch strip. I think you'll get about, well, don't quote me, I was going to say good 5 inches, maybe more once you're done. So it goes quite fast, as you can see. Again, I'm using 1/2" strips. I have done this with different size strips as well, and I will show you what that looks like. So as you can see, pretty simple. I'm just going left, right, or in this case, top, bottom, top, bottom. But always pick the outside, just like you would braid, really. And then come back this way. So I'm gonna finish this, and I'll come back in a second and show you what it looks like. Okay, so I'm at the bottom of my braided paper, and we're gonna pretend that I glued all that down. It'll sit much flatter when you do that. I'm gonna go over it a little bit with the bone folder and just crease everything. So here is the pattern that has come forth, as you can see, just like I did here. So that is your really basic braiding paper technique. So I decided to take this, because I started with this 1/2", and I wanted to play around and see if I could make a variety of patterns. So I decided to, well, first of all, I made it smaller. So first of all, I went from a 1/2" to 3/8 of an inch strips. You really got to make sure you've got tight patterned paper to do that. And so I made that for this card. And then I thought, well, I wonder if I just put different kind of colors in here, what this would look like. So I tried one. Just gonna bring this over here. This is 'Tis the Season paper. This was from last Christmas, 2019, so it's not available anymore. But I took 2 strips of one designer paper and 2 strips of another. So as you can see, this strip, these 2 outside strips are from the same designer paper, and these 2 inside strips are from the same designer paper. So essentially I have 4 designs going here. So I've taken the first designer paper, that's from the same 2 strips from the same paper, and I have laid them over top of each other like this. And then I've taken the second 2 strips from the same designer paper, and I've laid them like this, okay? So I've already done this, so let's fold it and see what comes up. So now you have 4 designs instead of 2. We're just gonna keep folding. As you can see, we get a different pattern. But see how I'm getting all the red on this side and all kind of the green on this side? Kind of depends how we start. So let me open this. I started on the right side. So let's see what happens if I start on the left. I know whatever side you start on is going to be kind of look the shortest. See, like that's what I mean by short, and this is longer. So let's see what this looks like. No, it's gonna come out the same, but I never noticed that before. That's okay. But you get the 4 different designs. It just so happens the way I laid it out, I've got kind of all red on this side and all green on that side. Well, green, kind of matchy-match. So it really depends how you lay your strips, and you kind of got to play around, and it kind of freaks your mind out a little bit sometimes. Here is one that I actually added a solid white to. So this is the designer paper from, I had it in my head. You know, Well Suited, that's what it's called, Well Suited. And I just added a piece of Whisper White. Actually, it's called Basic White now, cardstock. And that's only 11 inches, so you might not get as long as you want, but, so I'll open this up and show you just where I placed my white piece of paper here. Okay, so again, 3 of these strips are from the same designer paper. So these 3, 1, 2, 3, are all from the same paper. And then I just added a white, Whisper White, Basic White strip of paper. A little tougher to fold, but not impossible. And by the way, did you know paper has a grain to it? I'll talk about that in a second. Anyway, so I just wanted to see what this would look like. So I started, and I quite liked how this turned up. Just like this. Isn't that neat? Again, glue yours down. I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes, not gluing mine down. And you come up with that neat pattern. Then I did it again with the hydrangea designer paper, and I took some Mossy Meadow cardstock because I wanted to see how that would fold. And like I said earlier, there actually is a grain to paper, and it tends to work out quite well. So let me just get a piece of paper here for you. If you take a piece of cardstock and you fold it this way, and then you fold it this way, you're gonna notice that one way is easier to fold than the other. Like this way is a lot easier to fold than this way. This way is stiffer. So the grain is actually going this way, which actually bodes well for us in that folding it crisscross will work better. Just a little FYI. Anyway, okay, so I took 3 strips of the same DSP and then added 1 strip of Mossy Meadow. And I put these 2 at the top in opposite directions. So I laid this strip first, turned it over, put this strip on, and I put my Mossy Meadow down, and then I put this strip down. So in my opinion, it works best if every other strip is different. So make sure that this inside strip and this inside strip aren't the same, or when you fold, you'll get 2 together. Okay, like this and this will be the same. Now you might want that pattern, that's fine. I didn't like it that way. So anyway, just play around, see what you get. So I'm gonna show you what it looks like with the green in there. And I just think adding a solid, if you're a quilter or sewer, you will be told when you're learning how to quilt that your eyes need to rest on something. So when you have too much pattern play, your eye doesn't know where to rest. So if you add a solid into something, it'll be more pleasing to your eye. So that's in quilting, so why wouldn't it work the same for patterned paper? So again, I'm not gluing this down because it's just demonstration purposes, but so here you go. I mean, here's the mossy in there. I could do, I think Heather Highland or Gorgeous Grape would be nice in here. You can do just lots of things, lots of different patterns. So just try yourself what you'd like to do. Let me show you what else I made. So I did this card, and I did 3/8 of an inch strips, and then I put the 2 together. So you can see the seam there, and I wanted to cover the seam, so I put some ribbon around it and just used it as a focal point. And these are the little flowers that are cut out of the hydrangea die, and kind of left it at that. I just thought that was just basic and pretty. And then I thought, well, what would it be like if I covered the whole thing? So I think I'm going to change this up a bit because I think the ribbon is too narrow, but I went back to my 1/2 inch strips, and this is using the Peony, I believe it's Prized Peony designer paper, and did the 1/2 inch strips and just made 3 of them and cut them to size, glued them onto some basic white cardstock onto the back, and then layered it again. I didn't add a lot to the front of this card because I just want the design of the braiding to show through, so I just kept it really, really simple. So I hope that gives you some ideas to do on your cards, and happy braiding. Thanks for watching, guys.